This is the plaintiff, Lynn Lemlin. She says she was hanging out on her front porch with her Shih Tzu, Max. And out of nowhere, the defendant's 2 pit bulls walked by her property and tried to eat Max for lunch. That's right, before she knew it, Max was in the jaws of one of the dog's mouth and was almost killed. Her dog survived, thank God, but had to have 2 surgeries. And the defendant owes her $3,938 in vet fees, which he refuses to pay. So she's suing. This is the defendant, Jack Butler. He says he was walking his 2 rescue dogs on leashes. As he passed the plaintiff's house on the sidewalk, her dog charged at his dogs, and they got into it. The whole thing lasted 30 seconds or less. The plaintiff's dog was in a yard without a fence and without a leash, and he doesn't see how any of this is his fault and refuses to pay. He's accused of having vicious propensities.
All parties, please use your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket, the plaintiff says her dog Max was on her property when the defendant's dogs walked by and attacked. Now, the defendant says his 2 dogs were on a leash when her dog ran up to them and started angrily barking. It's the case of Mad Max.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, ma'am.
All right. So you're sitting on your porch, and you have a Shih Tzu?
Yes.
All right, what happens?
Well, that day, I went for a walk with my dog, and we came back, and I sat on the porch, and I was looking down on my phone, and Max was on the lawn smelling the bushes. But I found out that I didn't need to have the dog on the leash if he was on my property. The animal control told me that. So Max...
I'm kind of an expert on the law. I'll let you know what the law says
Okay.
you can and can't do, or what,
Okay.
what if you do, results in what liability for whom. Go ahead.
Okay. So I was looking down on my phone, and all of a sudden I hear Max barking, and I look up, and I see Mr. Butler with his 2 dogs on the sidewalk. So I rushed to go get Max, and I don't know what happened, Your Honor. The next thing I know is that he let go of 2 leashes, and his...
Where's Max when he lets go of 2 leashes?
Max was on the lawn. I have pictures.
How far from him and the 2 leashes is he?
I have pictures to show you.
Explain to me, how many feet away from him and his 2 leashes, and when he lets go of the leash, Max is where?
Max is like right before the sidewalk, like he's on the sidewalk with his 2 dogs, and Max is on the lawn just barking at them.
Just like an inch away from where he can't be?
Yeah, like about maybe a feet or 2.
Okay, now according to you, this all happens on the sidewalk.
Yeah, they met at the sidewalk. As soon as they started fighting, I started pulling.
Wait, you mean there were seconds before the fight, like they were just sniffing each other?
No, as soon as they met at the sidewalk, they were tussling, getting into it, and I was pulling away from her dog.
You still had both of the leashes?
Yeah, but as soon as I started pulling, I tripped over my other dog, and I did lose the leash to Iggy. They ended up a few feet in her yard, continued fighting. That's when I don't know if I asked her to hold the leash or if I just kind of threw it at the ground so I could stop Iggy. I broke up the fight, and that was it.
Okay. So there ends up being almost $4,000 in vet bills.
Yeah.
But when I was looking through it, was there some issue with the first surgery where the stitches didn't?
Yes.
Yeah, what happened with that?
Well, his skin was starting to die. And just by him moving a little bit as a dog,
Yeah.
that's what was happening.
Poor thing.
Yeah.
How's the dog doing now?
He's got anxiety. I mean, I can't really go anywhere without him following me all over the house.
Can I ask you a question? Do you think you're at fault at all?
No, Your Honor.
Welcome back to the People's Court. The plaintiff says that even though her dog was off a leash, it was on her property when the defendant's 2 dogs walked by, attacked, and her dog got injured. Now, the defendant says he was just walking his dogs on a leash like he is supposed to do when the defendant's loose dog ran up to them. Does it matter whether the fight took place on her property or not? Let's go back into the courtroom.
Do you think that whether your dog runs out to a pit bull and stops here versus here makes a difference? I mean...
Well, from what I was being told that my dog had the right to be on the lawn without a leash because he was on personal property.
Yeah, and so
dogs-
here's where it gets hairy. Watch this. Did the attack happen on the sidewalk or on personal property?
It started at the sidewalk when I
Okay, so
tripped.
if it ends up going onto the lawn because it's already in flagrante, see why it's a good idea to have a fence or to have your dog on a retractable leash where the dog can't get more than 10 feet. And you see, and actually that's even scary to me because what if what happened here happens where the excitement causes one dog to pull and the other, and then the dog can go, because there's no fence, the dog can go onto your property. You know, it's not a problem until the day it's a problem, right? Everybody enjoys themselves, they have their dog sniffing their bushes, everyone's happy, until something bad happens. And now we got to dissect the behavior of the dogs. We dissect the behavior of the humans. The dogs are animals. They have animal instincts. They do what they do. The law doesn't punish the dog for being a yappy Shih Tzu or a vicious pit bull. That's not how it works. We look at the conduct of the owners and we see what was going on. I've got a guy with a leash out there, 2 leashes. And yes, he loses control of 1 leash, but when? When the fight happens, were you injured?
No, I'm fine.
Right, you know, he gets knocked over, that's how it happens. So his lack of control of, and that's not the dog that did something.
Right, I tripped over the dog that was kind of docile.
But the leash that you ended up letting go of was Iggy's?
Yes.
Okay, I got it. So in any event, so while that, you know, the reason that he doesn't have control when he lets go of the leash is because of a situation that was created that wasn't his fault, which is that a dog comes out to where they're walking the dogs. I mean, even your testimony was, animal control told me that if it was my lawn, it's not, you know, I don't have to pay a penny of this. Yeah, but then you got to prove to me that the attack happens on your lawn. And I don't mean it ends up on your lawn. I mean it starts on your lawn. So I've got your testimony against his, and I've got him with leashed dogs on a sidewalk, and I've got your dog running out to meet the pit bull. And, you know, what is the pit bull? The pit bull doesn't know. The pit bull sees a dog coming at it and its owner there. I mean, you know, it's the humans that we punish. And do you still do this? Do you still have your dog roaming in your lawn?
No, I don't, Your Honor.
Right. Because it's not that wise.
No,
right?
Can I say something, Your Honor?
Yeah.
I mean, he's saying that he tripped over, and he's saying that he only let go of 1 leash. Both leashes were out of his control.
But when, though? Did he drop the leashes so he could check his cell phone like you were doing, or no?
Your Honor, he was on the...
Yes or no? Did he drop the leashes so he could check his messages? Right.
No.
He dropped a leash or 2, I don't care whether it was 1 or 2, because your dog was running over to where his dogs were.
He was kneeling down on the lawn, and he was saying to his dog, bad dog, bad dog.
Yes,
like
he's
that
trying
with
to
a
break up
finger.
the fight.
That was after I was yelling at the dog.
He's not
after
trying
the
to
fight.
break up the fight. He was just...
Who broke up the fight?
No one. I mean,
What was he doing during the fight?
I don't know. It happened so quick.
Well, if you're saying he did nothing, how are you saying that if you don't know what he did?
Well, Your Honor, when I went to go get Max ran on the lawn. He was on the lawn. I was going down the driveway. Next thing you know, his dog's got my dog in his mouth. He lets go of the other dog's leash.
Because he trips over it because your dog ran over to his dogs.
He had both leashes out of his control.
What did you have in your control? Your dog ran up to some pit bulls. What did you have in your control? Verdict for the defendant.
That was quick. She didn't want no nothing.
Well, the plaintiff failed to prove her case. What are you thinking?
I think he's a liar. I think he lied up there. And even though my dog was not on a leash, I was just told by the Department of Agriculture Animal Control that he had every right to be off the leash. I have a Shih Tzu. He has, like she was saying, 2 pit bull mixes. I mean, my dog is not vicious, but we found out that his dog was. I'm very disappointed. I did not expect this at all like this.
You know what you learned? The animal control people told you wrong.
I guess so.
I mean, the judge said
I guess
it's your
so.
fault because your dog wasn't on a leash.
Yeah.
And was free to get to those dogs.
Yeah. But for him to let go of 2 leashes...
Well, he tripped. He said he tripped over one of the dogs.
He said he tripped.
Yeah, he did. That's what he said.
I don't believe that at all. He
Well.
let go of another dog that I had to take control of the leashes.
Sorry about it. Bottom line is,
Yeah.
you lost.
Yeah, I know.
How's the dog? Doing good?
No, he's not. He's got
He's
anxiety.
spooky, but is he going to live okay?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the
Yeah,
important thing.
exactly.
That's the important
Yeah,
thing.
exactly.
So congratulations, all right? Sorry you lost. Mr. Butler, you prevailed, but do you feel at all guilty in this?
I feel bad for her dog. I am a dog lover. My dogs are rescues, so I do feel bad for her dog being injured. I don't feel responsible, though. My dogs were leashed. I've walked that route for many years, never had an issue. Animal control looked into if there were any previous complaints with my dog, which there are not.
Okay.
And yeah, I don't feel responsible at all for the situation that occurred.
Okay. Well, you're off the hook. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay. Harvey?
Well, I don't know what to say about this because we've talked about it clearly so many times. It doesn't matter how sweet the plaintiff's dog is. You have to have a dog on a leash and control it when the dog's outside.